What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, a big piece of fight announcement news just came out. The three-piece in the soda is finally going to have to be answered for.
Love it.
Jorge Masvidal is going to be taking on Leon Rocky Edwards December 11th, UFC 269. It's going to be a 3-round affair. And my only question is, what took so long? This is the fight that has to happen, right?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And, better late than never, but it did seem to take a long time. Hopefully the promotion for this fight and the buildup does show that a lot and highlight it. And, basically that fight was made the night that it happened out there in Abu Dhabi, it was, right?
I think maybe it was England. It's been so long now, I can't even remember. But yeah, anytime you have two UFC fighters fighting each other outside of the octagon where fists are thrown, you have to make that fight.
Yeah, and it gets caught on camera. And then so everybody was like, okay, well, these are two of the biggest hammers at 170. They're really good. There's clearly some beef there. Let's make this thing happen. Masvidal, had some heavy lifting to do in fighting Kamaru Usman. And, with the Nate Diaz thing, it kind of prolonged and got kicked down the road a little bit. But I honestly think that this fight is going to be super fun to watch. And these guys are both going to give us an exciting fight, mostly because there's so much on the line for whoever wins this one.
Yeah, there's a ton on the line. And, DC even recommended to Leon to sit this one out and wait for his title shot. And I don't usually disagree with the former champ, but I do in this regard. There's some hammers at 170.
For sure.
Khamzat Chimaev is coming back. He's got to win a couple more before he's in title contention, but that could literally, as he showed us, happen in a matter of a couple of weeks.
Right.
I personally believe that one more win, especially in a finishing dominant fashion, puts Vicente Luque ahead of Leon because of activity and because of the depth of who he's fighting. Also, what happens if Colby beats Kamaru?
Yeah.
That could happen. Colby gave Kamaru the hardest fight of his career. So if that happens, you might go immediately into a trilogy. So I think activity for Leon is what's needed right now, especially since he took that long layoff. And I really think that Jorge Masvidal is the perfect opponent.
Yeah.
Jorge Masvidal is one of the 3 biggest stars in this sport, regardless of where he stands in the rankings. He's a major name, a major draw on a huge card. If Leon Edwards can get past him, and the odds makers think that he probably will, that's going to do great. One, it's going to pay him a lot of money.
Yep.
And I think this is going to be a fight of the night type of fight.
Yep.
We know what's going to happen with these two. They both have outstanding striking. They're both lightning fast, and they both like to mix it up on the feet. And they're going to be exchanging 3 pieces and sodas back and forth for 3 rounds, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be a stand-up fight, and it's going to be fun. Leon Edwards is so dang fast.
Yeah.
He strikes really well. He gets in and out really well. So I think he's going to cause a lot of problems for Jorge Masvidal early on. Jorge's a dog, though, so he knows how to figure these things out. He'll get your timing down. He'll rough you up a little bit when you tie up and kind of slow the pace of the fight down. So I think the key to Jorge getting his hand raised in this one is slowing the pace of the fight down, making it more of one of those just junkyard dog backyard fights. Leon's going to try to be a technician, stay outside. He knows that if he can beat the second or third biggest star in the entire sport, that he'll likely get a title shot. Taking this fight on instead of trying to sit on ice is definitely the right move. You said Daniel Cormier said the opposite, but you're so right when you say that the sport and the divisions move so quickly. And if you aren't active and you're not constantly beating the who's who of your division, especially a division like 170 or 55 or even now 45 and 35 these days, then you kind of get left in the dust. And next thing you know, after a couple of weekends or a couple of months of some big fights happening in your division, you could not even fight or not even lose a fight and drop 3 or 4 positions in the ranking. And it's just, what have you done for me lately is absolutely the case in mixed martial arts. With Gilbert Burns in the division, Colby Covington in the division, Masvidal, Wonderboy's still in the division, Luque, Khamzat's on his way up. They clearly shown that they want to market him and really push him forward quickly. All those guys can throw a wrench into your plans if you decide to sit back and wait. So I agree with you rather than DC on this one.
Yeah, and I think all will be redeemed for Leon here because the complaint was when he took all that time off, he doesn't want to fight anybody. He's just ducking everybody. And then, boom, he accepts a fight with Khamzat Chimaev, who's an unknown monster, unranked fighter.
Yep.
So when you take a fight with him, that shows a lot of heart and a lot of determination. Then he fights Nate Diaz, a person who I thought matched up decently well against him and made for a great fight, but also somebody that doesn't really make a lot of sense when you look at just purely the rankings.
Right.
And now Jorge Masvidal, another person who's behind him in the rankings. So I think all will be forgiven here for Leon. And that's why I think this is the right move for him. You know, you mentioned dropping back a few places in the rankings. Leon has some experience with that. Not only did he drop back a few places, he was removed from the rankings completely by the organization, not even in the top 15 because of inactivity. So I think in a lot of ways, Leon may have learned his lesson here. And I think he's ready. He's ready and game to fight whoever, because the end goal is the belt. And if you want to be the champion, then you just have to beat everybody in the division. Look at Stylebender. He beat some people on the way up, and now he's just beating them again now that he's the champ. So at some point in time, you're going to have to face everybody whose name is relevant in the top. So you might as well make it now. Colby and Kamaru have business. Why not make some money before Christmas? Enjoy the end of the year. I think this fight favors Leon. I think Leon, we got to look at who the common opponent is, Nate, right?
Right.
Jorge beat Nate up a little bit worse than Leon did. However, the Leon fight, there was some controversy around the Jorge-Nate fight, the doctor stoppage, what have you. But I think, you know, MMA math never works out. But when you have a common opponent to look at, it's worth looking at. And Nate Diaz really hurt Leon at the end of that fight. And we certainly know Jorge Masvidal is precise and powerful as well. So I think this fight, I'm feeling like it's going to go the distance, and it's going to be an incredible striking match. And I think Leon, I'm leaning towards him to win it by just being a little bit crisper, quicker, and sharper.
Yeah.
But man, this is a great fight, and this is a really close fight. And by the way, if you're a Masvidal believer, at plus 200 odds, that's not a bad bet to place right now.
No, not at all. There's no time like the present. Like you said, this is the time for these guys to fight. I really do think that what Leon Edwards has been able to do, and it felt for the longest time that he was kind of getting shafted as far as the organization goes, and, you know, lack of opponents and some people were like, well, it's his fault. He's not ready to fight anybody. And well, no, it's the organization's fault because they're not giving him the right opponents. And, you know, with the lockdown, I think England kind of made it difficult for him to get anywhere. So I kind of feel like he's getting rewarded in a big way, and it's going under
the radar.
Definitely under the radar. Yeah, people aren't talking about how he fought Nate Diaz, top 3 biggest star in the sport. His fight coming up is Jorge Masvidal, another one of the top 3 biggest in the sport. All he has to do is check off and fight Conor McGregor, which isn't out of the realm of possibility. Conor's been eating big. He clearly showed us that he's probably not taking his next fight at 155. It's going to be at 170.
Yeah.
It's going to be meaningful. Love him or hate him. That doesn't really matter how many fights he loses over the past several, 4 or 5 fights. If he decides that he wants to call out Leon Edwards, he'll likely get that fight maybe for his comeback fight or something like that. And, if Colby Covington's able to beat Kamaru Usman, then that is going to be locked up for a little bit in the trilogy.
Yeah.
So we could literally see Leon Edwards potentially, and the Conor one's a bit of a stretch, but fight Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal, and then Conor McGregor, all 3 of the biggest stars in the sport. If he gets wins over all of them, I mean, he has the potential to become a mega, mega star.
Yeah.
And he has the skills to beat all of them. He also has the skills to potentially give Kamaru Usman the toughest challenge that he's faced in quite some time since Colby Covington. And, Colby, that's a whole nother video we have to make, and that one's going to be ridiculous. But, he's a different fighter than when Kamaru fought him the first time. And he's just getting better and better. And if he can keep getting under the brightest lights this sport has to offer, then I think he's going to be doing just fine. He's going to keep moving forward.
When your calendar year includes fights against Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, and he's checked one of those boxes and got a W.
Yeah.
If he can get another W against Masvidal, it will be an incredible comeback year for Leon. Mm-hmm. He'll make a ton of money, and he will set it for sure. If you beat Masvidal, you fight for the belt.
Yeah.
You know, depending on what happens with Colby Kamaru, as you said, he might be able to wait out 6 months, you know, see what happens. But this fight and a win, especially a finish of Masvidal, solidifies Leon Rocky Edwards' #1 contendership. He would be, much like Chael Sonnen calls Dustin Poirier, the clearest #1 contender in the sport.
Yeah.
I think Leon Edwards would become that with a solid win over Masvidal here.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, you know, if he beats Masvidal, people, you know, they look at stars in the sport and then they look at high-level competitors in the sport. Masvidal is currently both. He's a megastar, and his last fight was for the title. So he is just one step removed from the title fight, which means that he's not only the megastar that's going to bring all the eyes to your fight, but if you beat him, you're also jumping right into title contention. So big opportunity for Leon Edwards. He seems like the kind of guy that can deal with the pressure. I cannot wait for this fight. I'm sure it'll feel like it's here in no time, but I'll wait and give my prediction a little bit later when we do.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you want to give an early prediction, but
I'm kind of leaning towards what you're saying of a decision and possibly going to Edwards just for the speed and the accuracy, but. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research before I can actually commit to Leon Edwards.
We got a couple of months, so we'll give official predictions later.
Absolutely.
Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed the content, engage with us in the comments. We love chatting with you guys there, so keep those great comments coming. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, The Barnhill Brothers. And we also have an audio podcast. You can check it out anywhere you listen to podcasts if you want to have the Barnhill Brothers audio version as well. Guys, until the next video, have a wonderful day.
Peace.